Hello everyone, my name is Ammar Younas. I am CEO of IMO Innovation Consultants. IMO Innovation Consultants is a boutique digital transformation consultancy. At IMO Innovation Consultants, we provide innovative consulting, trainings, digital services, networking opportunities, as well as a full suite of skills that is essential for unlocking the growth potential of individual enterprises, state bodies, and educational institutions. As you know that we are conducting these IMO talks, the purpose of these talks is to introduce you with different experts, their areas of expertise, and different services which we offer. We will be discussing different topics from social sciences, applied sciences, humanities, ranging from finance, economics, chemistry, biology, medicine, soft skill, technology, and so on. Another purpose of these talks is to engage students, academicians, experts from different areas of life, state officials, to inspire them, to motivate them, and to seek their feedback on different topics and different areas in which those people have expertise, and to know their opinion about post-COVID world. The topic of today's discussion is very interesting and very unique, especially for this region. The topic is future of space law in post-COVID world. And for discussion, we have a very special guest, our expert, Dr. Kitjapat Kesiranon. He is from Thailand, and without any delay, I will hand over to him. Dr. Kitjapat, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you very much
Sure.
for accepting our invitation and joining us. If you are ready, can we share your presentation?
Sure, I'm ready.
Yes.
All right, first of all, Assalamu alaikum to everyone and to Dr. Ammar, and thank you for this invitation. So today I'm going to talk about the space law or the space law issue after the COVID pandemic. And I will focus on the issue relating to security issue and also liability on the space as well. So first of all, Kitjapat Kesiranon is my full name. I'm being here as an independent scholar. Let me introduce just a little bit about myself. So yeah, you can just
Excuse
call.
me, sir,
Yep.
we cannot see your slides.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just hold on a second. Sorry. Right.
Yes, now it's fine.
Okay. So again, here's my topic. So we're gonna talk a little bit about space law in the post-COVID era. Um, Kitjapat Kesiranon is my full name, and yeah, I got my bachelor degrees in both public administration and law from Thailand, and then went to the West for master, and then came back to Asian countries for doctoral degree. Currently serving as a government officer, but I'm being here as an independent scholar because that's my leisure activities. All right. Here's the outline. I will go very fast to the first topic, which is just like a brief history of space law, and then we will go to the term peacetime espionage, which is involving with security issue, and then we're gonna talk about the what what going on in this COVID era or COVID pandemic. Then we will go to the legal issue, and at the end, we will reach to the possible outcomes of the legal issues. I will go very fast to this. So the historical background of the space law, it began in 1910. At that time, there were only, like the abstract idea of space law. There was no law at the time, but there were only two aspects law or two conventions in international level as being presented here. You may see that there are many, abstract theses or book and academic works until 1957, which was the year that the Sputnik 1, the first satellite of the world, was successfully launched by the Soviet Union. So at that time, the world's eyes was turned to the possibility to go to outer space. So then we started to begin the idea of having space law or some kind of regulation to govern space activities up there. So 1 year later, there was the establishment of the UN Office of Outer Space Affairs. Afterward, establishment of the Committee on Peaceful Use of Outer Space. So this committee is in charge of um, studying, researching on international space law and legal issues relating to outer space. So at the end, 1963, the first, I would say the first legal document of space law was declared. So based on this document, 5 international space conventions or treaties were negotiated. So each of them deal with different particular issues, right? Other space treaty. So the first one is regarded as space Magna Carta. I think everyone had already heard the term Magna Carta before, right? All right, then we will move to the term as peacetime espionage. The definition of this term is like obtaining or getting of data or information without the consent in peacetime. This kind of action can be conducted in 3 traditional domains, which are land, sea, and air, and also it can be conducted in cyber, I would say cyberspace, right? And also other space as well, which are the modern domains of warfare. This kind of actions can be categorized into 2 types. Um, you know, somebody said espionage also cover the passive reconnaissance as well, but to me, I think the term espionage means only the active type, which is getting a data by triggering another country's firewall or protection mechanism. And another type is passive reconnaissance or passive gathering of data, which means getting data or information from openings or open source. So we're here are samples of espionage activities. The active type, for example, sending off false signal to deceive or to confuse another state in firewall or the protection system. And the passive type, for example, stalking and getting data from somebody's Facebook or IG or whatever. And then we are going to discuss about the legality of peacetime espionage. So far, there are 3 groups of ideas that are discussing and arguing on this topic. First is legal. Yeah, they say it's legal. Somebody says it's illegal, and somebody say it is neither legal nor illegal. The first idea, Lieutenant Colonel Demares, if I'm right, I'm sorry. So he claimed that peacetime espionage doesn't violate any international law, well, because he uses the something called identity approach. So he claimed that espionage should not be regarded as unlawful because students, researchers, or scholars who are always doing research every day have to access to a big bunch of data, so they should not be tagged as unlawful. So he doesn't, I would say he doesn't consider about information sources at all. And the second one, argument of illegality. Professor Shinji Wright say espionage violates the duty to respect the territorial integrity and political independence of other states. Well, this term, political independence of other states, is the term which is um, written in the UN Charter or the Charter of United Nations. So to me, I think I think only gathering of data doesn't violate this principle at all because you cannot influence one country as internal affair by just having its data. And yep, Another one, Dr. Russell Bouchon, he claimed that there is no customary rule supporting peacetime espionage is legality. So by customary rules, it means together state practice and open opinion juris. So opinion juris means the belief that one particular action is so legal and lawful. All right. Then the last idea, this idea claimed that espionage is actually neither legal nor illegal. Um, espionage is actually facilitating international cooperation, of course, yes, because if one country, for example, country state A or the nation A know information of arms, weapons, armament of state B, then state A can prepare itself to be ready and to like protect its own territory from state B, for example. Or if state B know that state C is violating international law by gathering too many armaments or weapons, then state B can do something or take some action to prevent that. It's called functional approach. And yeah, the ongoing trend of legality of espionage. So far, there is no international law saying or mentioning anything about the legality of espionage, but um, I would say in other nations, like for example, Thailand, China, UK, these countries have already, had and they already have their own laws outlawing espionage or foreign espionage. And this country already banned foreign reconnaissance, and these two countries ban only active reconnaissance. As I have said before, just foreign reconnaissance is like gathering data from foreign countries, but active reconnaissance means gathering data by penetrating into somebody's firewall or protection mechanism. So I think the legal issue here, we have to talk about the confidential status of information. So if the information or a data is not protected by any law, then I think everyone is free, very free to to access and to gather it, right? All right. So what's the matter of data gathering here? Since the pandemic began, the COVID-19 began, then I would say everything got worse. Economic, environment, and everything turned really bad. So recently, these three agencies, JSR, ESA, and also NASA, establishes the collaboration between these three agencies to have the system called Earth Observation Dashboard. So this system can use satellites to observe the Earth and economic activities and environmental status of many countries around the world. And so they gather this information together and then they distribute it. I'm sorry, disseminate it on the website called Earth Observation Dashboard, like this. So the tension here, you will see that there is a tension between gathering of information, sharing of information, and espionage. I'm quite sure that some countries are not so pleased, to be observed like this, right? And so this activity is called remote sensing activities. So the purpose are to observe the environmental, economical effect of COVID-19 pandemic and to investigate how social distancing measure and regional shelter in place or staying home policy have affected the Earth's air, land, and water, and to explore the individual countries and regions across the world and to plan everything properly in the future. So we can see that information gathering itself has advantages and disadvantages as being presented here. All right, then let's take a close look at the current legal basis for information gathering and sharing. The first one, the space Magna Carta, or the first international law involving with outer space. So with these two provisions, the Article 1 and Article 2, these two provisions, I would say, together recognizes the right to do remote sensing activity up there in outer space, right? So everyone can use it peacefully, freely, without any restriction. If without any restriction in international level, then this document is not a binding law itself, but it is like a principle or guideline for every nation to follow. Whatever it's sorry, it's called Declaration on Principle relating to remote sensing of the Earth. And here it defines the term remote sensing activity as well. It says the operation of remote sensing includes gathering, disseminating also, right, and interpreting. Um, and there's many principles contained in this UN resolution. For example, these are the, I would say the cooperation principles among states to do remote sensing. For example, it should be conducted to support international collaboration and to preserve environment and natural resources and to prevent against natural disasters, for example. And it needs to be conducted for the interest of all countries as well. But let's take a look at these two principles. So these two principles, um, it I would say they go in the same direction, which is to protect national sovereign rights. Like for example, permanent sovereignty of all states and people over there must be respected. And here is the key term: remote sensing activities shall not be conducted in a manner of detrimental the legitimate rights and interests of census state, right? So um, to make it easy, it means you cannot use remote sensing activity to harm or to cause dangerous effect to another countries. So by conducting remote sensing peacefully, states may together make an agreement among each other in both bilateral way or multilateral way to have agreements among each other. For example, data exchange agreement, letter of agreements. So here are just some samples of those agreements. All right, the next law we have to take a close look, and it's a little bit problematic, as Liability Convention of 1972. So since information gathering and information sharing is becoming popular in the COVID pandemic era, and also I think it's gonna be more popular in the S after it also. So we have to take a close look at this because, for example, if one satellite get like, get an information or take information from the Earth and then make a misinterpretation and share it and cause economic damage to another state, then who is gonna be liable for this action? Um, so this convention give one unclear or vague definition of the term space object because it says that space object include component part of space object as well as its launch vehicle and parts thereof. So according to this definition, um, I'm sorry, I think I missed something. So according to this convention, states have to be liable if its own space object cause damage to another state. So in this case, that damage should be occurred by space objects only. And the definition of the term damage is quite unclear whether it has to be caused directly or indirectly. So this very problematic issues in this convention. All right, and here is the issue. Are these included as the recoverable damage, the damage from erroneous data interpretation, erroneous data distribution, and also damage from nuclear power sources of satellites. We can see that this kind of damage, they're not occur directly from the object itself, right? So let me share some case happened in 1988 around. It was a case between Soviet Union and Canada when the Soviet Union is satellite re-entry back to the Earth and fell down in Canadian territory. So in this case, the satellite itself contained radioactive substances which was harmful. So the Canadian government claimed for $6 Canadian, which included the cleaning up course. All right, let me go slowly. Sorry, but so the course were reasonably calculated at the time. Anyways, so we can see that according to this case, the damage from cleaning up can be calculated, right, and can be recoverable. But so far, we haven't known yet whether the damage from erroneous data interpretation and erroneous data distributions can be recovered. So here are the ongoing trend. Verification measured by using soft laws need to be established. More agreement on information gathering and sharing must be concluded. Also, I think we have to amend the Convention on Space Liability of 1972, and we got to have more enforceable legal mechanism to deal with space debris or junk up there, since using of satellites, to gather data from around the world are becoming popular. All right, sorry for a little bit unsystematic presentation due to the limit of time. I think I have done my best, and thank you for everybody's kind attention. And yeah, feel free to post me some question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kitjapat. It was a really very interesting presentation, especially for our audience from Central Asia and South Asia, because it is a relatively new area of legal sciences. Not many people are talking about it. So you are a kind of a pioneer, and we will use this as a reference in future by saying that we were the first people who actually talked about the future of safe space law. We have so many questions, and the first question is from one of my student. She's asking that what is the difference between aviation law and space law, or both are the same thing, aviation law and space law?
Should I start now?
Yes.
All right. So the difference is that when we say aviation law, I think it is a law that governs only aircraft or any activities in airspace, right? So everything is under the sky and in the airspace, but it doesn't reach up to outer space. And this also promotes the issue as well. That's a good question, actually, because so far we don't have the clear borderline between airspace and outer space. That's why I think we are supposed to actually, to draw a borderline between these two areas to make clear which law is gonna govern in which areas.
Yeah, I mean, in future we are expecting these flying cars and flying taxis. And recently I have seen that the 5G technology will be provided by these, flying aircraft type of things. So that is very, relevant question. And we need to define, because aviation law is very, very developed, and space law is just now developing. Another question is, As you mentioned about peacetime espionage and the espionage during wartime, and I was thinking that the war or any conflict, it is the result of a long process. And during this process, many countries do conduct some types of espionage, and this became very relevant when Trump saying to the Chinese students that they are here for espionage. And you also mentioned about both of these types, but when it comes to the legality, since you are a legal scholar, we wanted to know your opinion that what do you think, what is the legal status of peacetime espionage? Do you consider it espionage or not?
All right. So far, I think internationally, I think it's still not illegal, and it's something that everyone does, right? So, but well, my conclusion for international law, it is not legal, but I'm not saying that it's legal anyway. But according to national legislations, it is illegal. Depends on which country is gonna define it.
So you are also saying that it is legal and illegal, and
Yeah,
we need to,
neither.
yeah, we need to
Yeah.
decide. Also, recently a news have come from Asia again, and very astonishing that during even everyone is suffering, and governments are promising that we will invest more into science and technology in post-COVID world. We will invest more into peaceful activities, and the news has come from Japan. Usually we consider it a very peaceful country, and very advanced when we talk about science and technology. So they have you know established a space operation squadron in their air self defense force during this time of pandemic. So people are investing, I mean, countries are investing on space warfare. How do you see this? This is the process of space militarization.
Okay. Well, prior to the pandemic, I think every week, every country was trying to like doing militarization in outer space. But when it when the COVID-19 came, everyone has stopped their activity. But anyway, except Japan, Japan has done a great step on that because it established up the squadron. Anyway, so I think after this pandemic, everyone will start to do militarization of the space again, and the forms or the characteristic of military activities or military maneuver up there will be reconnaissance or information gathering, or we can say spying maybe, and includes some forms of use of weapon for defensive purpose, like ABM system or anti-ballistic missile, or the test of anti-satellite weapons, which is the weapon that is capable to be used against another satellite, but just only testing, not employing.
Yes. Uh, One more question is, at the end of your presentation, you were talking about Space Liability Convention. Since we are passing through these times, and I mean, law is developing, and you were saying that there is a need to amend this convention. So I wanted to know your opinion that in which way you think that this convention should be amended. I mean, by using this platform of IMO Talks, we need to know your expert advice on this.
Okay, so I think I have missed something in my presentation. Anyway, the full name of the Liability Convention is actually Convention on International Liability for Damage Caused by Space Objects. So, which means that the particular damage can be recovered only if it was occurred by space object only. But so far, according to the advance of scientific technologies, I think damages up there can be causes or can can be occurred from many reasons and many kind of space activities. Um, for example, hacking of satellite or doing some things that cause damage without using an object directly. So I think the new legal instrument should be negotiated to, to recover the damage caused actually by space activities, not only space objects.
So we have to see the space activities, I mean, as a whole, not only with
Right.
on related to the space object. Yes. And the last question is, since many students are watching, many law students are watching our presentation, what you will suggest that to our students, that why is it important to study the space law, what are the benefits of studying space law, and also some suggestions and recommendations for those lawyers who are planning to pursue a career in space law.
Well, that's a very great question, and thank you for asking this. Since space activities are being conducted more and more, of course, conflicts and regulations dealing with the conflict assets must be developed, right? So, for all nations seeking for their national interests in outer space, I think it's necessary for them to learn the international norms, international legal norms, so they can form up their space policy and national legislations with respect to, space affair to comply with the international legal norm. And at the end of the day, they shall be able to protect their own interests and keep the friendly and peaceful environment in outer space at the same time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kitjapat, for this wonderful presentation and for discussion and answering all the questions. Thank you very much to our audience for joining us this morning. We will be online once again with the new IMO talk. And thank you very much, Dr. Kitjapat, once again for your wonderful contribution for the development of space law. Hope in future we will have more presentations on space law from your side. Maybe some trainings we will try to organize with the lawyers who are interested in pursuing a career, because we don't have many specialists in this part of the world. So it would be very beneficial for the lawyers as well to receive trainings from you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Ammar.
Bye.